right, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Launchpad. My name is Grant, and today I am joined by the headliner of the Festival Farmers Market, Darkheart. Darkheart,
Ooh, hello.
how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back in Phoenix.
Dude, we're glad to have you back, bro. It's nice to meet you in person finally, dude. Last time, so we've done a moon landing launchpad interview with you before. It was over Zoom. I don't know if everyone tuned into that before, but we talked for a long time, dude.
We did. If you made it through the whole thing, I would be impressed.
Oh yeah, no, we were talking. We were just me and you were just vibing. We were just having a good time talking about literally anything and everything at that point. That was probably like, I want to say like 6, 7, 8 months ago at this point. I want to hear a big life update since then. Since last time we've talked, what's the big update?
A lot has happened. I have a 10-month-old now, so he was. Maybe we talked about this.
We did. We were just brand new into fatherhood at the point.
Yeah, well, now he gets bored. Nobody wants to hear about your kids, by the way. So
I want to keep this. I'm
going to keep this very.
Bro.
No, I get it, but like it's kind of that topic of conversation where it's like we were all babies. We've all been around babies. Like they're all kind of the same. It's like when somebody pulls out a camera and they're like, "Let me show you a picture of my kid." As a parent, I get it, and like I will happily.
Partake.
And I will, and I'm like with other parents, it's kind of a different thing. But I remember, for most of my life, just when kid talk comes up, your eyes just glaze over. And I have 8 younger siblings, so I grew up around them all. Like they don't, there's not like kids do kid stuff. That's just sort of what. Can we curse in this or no?
You can curse.
Okay, yeah, kids do kid stuff. So it's like. You get like we'll give it like 2 minutes on the kid and then onward, maybe even less than that. He's great. He gets bored now, so you can't like leave him on the ground. He crawls around. He likes eating everything, and we have to cover the outlets and childproof the house, which it isn't at all. So it's just like, yeah, he's developing a little personality. It's super cute. If he was here, he'd definitely steal the show and probably eat the mic and all that. But he does baby stuff. Like we're not having riveting conversations about philosophy or anything like that. So
give it a couple months, you'll be there.
Yeah, eventually.
But dude, you said 8 younger siblings. How big is your family, dude?
9 kids, including me, and then obviously my parents still were 11 total.
So you're the oldest of 9?
I'm the oldest of 9, but you have to understand, in northern Indiana, that is a lot for northern Indiana. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But you meet other families up there that are like that was where I was born and raised. I live in LA now, but. It's kind of like people go, ooh, they kind of look at you. But in LA, if you had that, people would be like, what? And like want to interview you to find out what that's like. But
we could be having an interview just not even based on you being a successful DJ or anything, just based on you being the oldest of 9 people.
People say like, what's it like? You have all these kids in your family. I'm like, I don't know what it's not like. What's it like to have no siblings? What's it like to have one sibling? I have no idea. All I know is and basically you get lost in the shuffle. And I was the oldest, so like by the time we got down to kid number 3 or 4, dude, I'm basically just on my own, running around doing whatever. So 100%, and you're babysitting and you're doing parent stuff for your kid, So and then my mom has a big family. My dad's one of 5. It's just like it's pretty normal. So I don't really know anything other than that, but.
Tell me about the roots. Like growing up northern Indiana, you're living in LA now. Like, what's the big difference between northern Indiana and Los Angeles now?
So, moving to LA actually was when I first moved. I moved in 2010, and it was like moving to a foreign country. I had interned in LA in 2009, and it felt weird then. It genuinely, like, everything is different. It's just, you're adjusting to being around a lot more people, being in a much bigger space, being sort of, you feel very alone when you first get there. Everybody has a hard time when they first move to LA. Yeah. I say it takes like 2 years. If you make it through the first 2 years and you find some people, like you find your people, you're going to have a blast. Some people are like, oh, LA is cold and whatever. I'm like, yes, but you have to remember, it's a huge city. There's a lot of shitty people, and then there's a lot of amazing people, and you're going to encounter probably shitty and in between before you get to the amazing ones. But you will get to the amazing ones, and when you do, you're going to have a good time there. I really love it in LA. I can't imagine being anywhere else right now, So for me, it's been better. But yeah, it was an adjustment. I mean, that was so long ago for me, and I still, whenever... Like, my sister just moved out to LA, and so she, obviously is going through that right now, but at least she has family.
Yeah.
I now have both of my brothers live in LA, and then 2 of my sisters now live there, much to my mom's chagrin. So, yeah, it's like we have our little crew, and it's fun. I'm having a blast.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about amazing people that you've met along your journey.
Oh
Like
my God.
who are some of those people that have, been there to support you and inspire you and motivate you during the time that you've, like made that transition from film into music and started doing more like DJing and producing and pursuing like a big passion of
Yeah.
yours?
Well, if people don't know and you haven't seen the other interview, I'm going to assume you haven't. I used to be a talent agent on the movie side, and then I quit to do this, which is the only thing crazier than doing that is trying to become a talent agent in Hollywood. It's equally stupid.
Your
But do
story's
it if you
crazy,
want to do
dude,
it.
yeah.
Do it if you want to do it, by the way.
Go check out our other interview. Hear the full.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about that, you can go.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many people. What I tell people, and one of the joys about living in Los Angeles, is that you encounter so many people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, who are very passionate about what they do. Because it's a big move a lot of times for people to come out there, and so you will meet a lot of people who are extremely motivated to accomplish something, which is I really vibe with. I have a very strong work ethic. And I find that even if I have something in common with someone, maybe we have a similar background or whatever, if they don't have a good work ethic and they're not someone who's working, I cannot, even if we have a ton in common, I have a very difficult time connecting with that type of a person.
A big thing. Okay,
and it's not like in a judgmental way. I just like, we often, the way I view life is like we're all rowing canoes down a river.
Yeah.
Okay. And then sometimes you look over and you see another guy and he's rowing a canoe next to you and you're just like, hey, what's up, dude? What's going on in your canoe? And he's like, what are you doing in your canoe? And then you become friends because you guys are rowing at the same speed.
At the same speed.
Some people are going to go slower, and you
go past those people, you're like, I don't need to talk to you.
Well, it's not even that. You're just like, you're not even up. I'm way up here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
that guy didn't even bring a paddle with him.
Totally. They're riding in someone else's canoe half the time. So you're just, I think you meet people who are on the same vibe as you, especially if you're pursuing something artistic. But I've been inspired by so many people. Being an agent, one of the reasons I was inspired to quit and move on is because I was so close to accomplishing other people's visions and their goals and their creative aspirations, and it made me just think like I have creative aspirations. I want to do things. Why am I working on it for other people? I know what it takes to do these things, and I've seen people go all the way up. I've seen people go all the way up and stay there. I've seen people go all the way up and come all the way back down.
Yeah.
I've seen it burn people. I mean, it's very intense. Like, it's just definitely not something you should get into lightly.
Yeah.
If you anything entertainment related, firmly believe that what you do, what any promoters, venues, it's extremely difficult. And it's not like other career paths where, like, if you're an accountant and you're working hard and you got your degree and you just haven't quite found a job yet, people go, oh, let's give that guy a chance. Like, he hasn't figured out anything yet. Let's give him a chance as an accountant. If you're not making it as a DJ, people are like, fuck that guy. Come back down to earth with everybody else. Like, we don't really care. So and
There's
you're not
no
owed
leeway.
100%.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that analogy makes complete sense, but it's just
I'm following for sure.
That's like it's really like sort of been obvious who is when you meet people who is gonna weather the beating that you take initially. Yeah. Doing anything, being an agent, trying to become an agent is extremely difficult. I'm not sure if it's harder than trying to be a music artist yet. I'm still, they're different in many ways, but
so
you get the idea.
Dude. Yeah, no, your story is so interesting because you came from the side of like you were saying, being in the entertainment side, being on the movie side, being an agent for people, advocating for people, trying to, be that person that is there to, push people and like give people the best version of themselves. And now on the music side of things, you kind of have to do all of that for yourself now, and it's so different compared to what you experience on the like entertainment side of things. So like, obviously we talked a lot about this in our previous interview, but can you just touch a little bit about what the biggest difference is between being on the movie side of things versus being on the music side of things?
If I make a song on the plane on the way back home tomorrow, it could be done in 3 hours, and I send it off, and it changes my life. That does not work the same way in Hollywood. Like, if there's an actor coming up, and they book a movie, and it's like a Baz Luhrmann picture or something like that, for 2 or 3 years in advance, that movie's going to pop, number one, because we know who this director is, we know who the studio is, and this actor is going to get a moment.
Yeah.
You know it for 2 or 3 years. You don't know in music. It happens like overnight. It feels overnight, but it can happen very quick if you get a hit, for example. and those are often unpredictable.
Yeah.
You know, like, yes, if you're at a big label, obviously they pour jet fuel on their artists, but it's like you still don't know for sure if that's going to work. Whereas in the movie business is a little bit like there's a longer run. You can't just make a movie in 3 hours.
No, yeah,
start to finish.
Not.
But music, I guess the barriers to entry are lower.
Yeah.
Which is why it's more saturated. I mean, there's like 100,000 songs a week or something going on Spotify. There's not 100,000 movies coming out every month, so it's a massive difference to get to that level of quality. But I think that just changes the way the business works, but on a fundamental level. But if you want to talk about like what it's the pressures are or whatever, what the different like main things that you kind of deal with, it just depends what perspective you're sitting in. You know, like when I was a movie agent. Obviously, I was, you're sort of like a lawyer that doesn't have a law degree, and you get to do a little more creative stuff. Like you're kind of, you're obviously involved with, you read scripts, you send stuff out, you're pitching your clients to casting directors and that sort of thing. In music, it's like, as an artist, obviously, it's dramatically different. I'm on the other side of things. I have to think about a million other.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a great team, but it's like you still have to be the captain of your ship in many ways. Whereas I repped a lot of actors. If you're an actor, you have a job to do in a finite moment. Like you have an audition, that's a job.
Yeah.
I used to tell actors, I was like, this is your job for the day. And it might lead to another job, which is you book the role. But if it doesn't, then you did your job. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a different like mindset, I guess. But it just depends what perspective you're sitting in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, or am I all over the place?
No, dude, I'm following you. Dude, I always find it so interesting to talk to you. I feel like every time I talk to you, you just have such a unique perspective, not just on like the movie and the music industry, just on life in general. I feel like I could sit here and talk with you all day about anything.
Just keep it going.
Yeah, I could listen to you for hours. I feel like our listeners could just sit here and listen to you go on a rant about anything all day long. But one thing I do want to talk about is your new music that you've had coming out, because last time we talked, you gave me a little bit of a teaser. You told me some of the new songs that you had coming out. You even sent me like some of your songs before they had come out, and I gave them all a listen. I was like, holy shit, I can't wait for some of these to come out. Now we're several months later. A lot of these have come out. You know, your most recent one, Amnesia, just came out as well. Tell me about the new music that you've dropped, how you feel about it, like what the feeling has been being able to play a lot of this out live. Like, tell me about that feeling.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's kind of funny with anything music related. Like, I've heard everything so many times by the time it comes out. So you almost want to like take a break from it in the month leading up and come back and try to listen with. I mean, at least for me, I know a lot of other artists too who are kind of the same way. They just drill it into their head, and like eventually it just sounds like sounds to you because you know how every little piece was put together. But I mean, there's nothing. When you play a song out and you see a reaction and it's good, there's like no real feeling I can explain that's like it, because you just made that thing. It's cool to get support even. You see like a DJ playing your song in a country you've never been to or at a festival you want to play eventually, and you're just like, whoa, I did that like in my boxers and just like sitting here or whatever. And now someone is in
dude,
like.
You've had major artists play out. I feel like you're downplaying this, but just by the way you're talking about it. But you've had some major. Brag about yourself, bro. Who are some of those like big artists that have played out your stuff?
It's not very charismatic to sit there and be like, hey guys.
Nah, dude.
So anyways,
brag about yourself right now.
Let me just
I'm
drop
giving
some
you the
names.
platform right now. Brag about yourself. Name drop.
No, we've gotten amazing support. I mean, look, I think for me, I've been. As I think I said this to you in the interview that we did earlier, but most of my musical experimentation has been done in public. I've done a lot of musical experimentation. I never thought I was going to have an artist project. I sort of fell into having an artist project, and it was revealed to me that it was something that I wanted to do. I felt like compelled to do it, and then, it took me a minute to figure out my exact sound, and like now. I think over COVID I started figuring it out, and then the beginning of this year I just made the best music I've ever made, and now it's like actually starting to come out, which is something I'm really proud of, and there's been a lot of support from. It's funny because I think when you find your sound, I was actually talking to another DJ about this like a week ago. When you find your sound, things just seem to fall into place, and he was saying that to me, and I was like, yeah, so true. Like, and it's not even something that like you actively think about in the moment. But once I started sending these songs out, before a lot of them were even signed, they were just getting played. sometimes you're told about it and sometimes you're not. You know what I mean? But
Sometimes you have to like find out from a friend that's in the crowd.
sometimes you get sent a video. I would get sent a video. I remember like when I put out Amnesia, when I put out Dust, or I started sending Dust around, one of my friends sent me a video of Kevin DeVries playing it out at an Afterlife show, and I was just like, I had no idea that he actually played it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just a thing that kind of happens. So that feels cool. And then when I actually played it out for the first, and I heard it at a set myself, I was like, oh, this song kind of fucks. Like, wow, did I do this? Like, it's weird because that's happened to me a few times. I've had a few songs where I'm like, I don't get why this song keeps doing as well. And I'm like, oh. When you play it, you're like, whoa, okay, now I get it. Like,
I hear it on the speakers and everything.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, yeah, this.
Why doesn't everybody play this?
Yeah, it just like it makes a lot more sense. You know how sometimes you hear a song like on Beatport or on Spotify or something, and you're like, I don't get why this is getting all this support and doing so well, whatever. And then you hear it live, and you're like, never mind. I get why this is working as well as it is. And I think that's a cool feeling. So, and seeing it happen in my own songs. But yeah, I mean, there's been labels that I haven't signed with. I was glad with, let's see. When I think Dust is like the song I put out on Tomorrowland is like kind of the beginning of this new sound I'm doing. And, I had put out a song with Tomorrowland like 2 years prior. It was like one of the first songs on their label, I think. Maybe one of the first 10 songs that they had on their label. And I was really glad to come back around and have their team really like believe in it. And then I've wanted to. I signed another song with Lee Foss's label, Repopulate Mars, which those guys are amazing. And then I have an EP coming out with Insomniac as well as Amnesia, which we just on In Rotation, which we just dropped. So I'm like. I had done stuff before with, Tomorrowland, but it wasn't exactly where my sound was meant to end up. And I think now, like, with these new releases on Repopulate, 100%, all these. And then I have a release coming on Size, Steve Angelo's label, in January.
Okay.
We have a bunch of remixes coming for that as well. It's going to be a big... It's going to be a big start of next year for me. It's something I'm very proud of. And it was a collaboration with one of my favorite vocalists, this guy, Be No Rain, who maybe people have heard of.
Yeah, okay.
He did Night After Night with Fidelis and Camel Fat. He has this amazing record with Vintage Culture called Fallen Leaf and a bunch of other... I mean, he's super talented. So we worked on that song for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So the fact that it's like now coming out is just such a exciting moment to finally say... And, I've played it out before, and it's just like... It just goes off, and it's like really exactly where I want to be sonically. So... Yeah, that's exciting. It's definitely just like it's gratifying, but sometimes the process takes a long time, and you have to take yourself out of it and just be like, look, if I didn't have to go through any of the work that went along with this, how would I be excited? And like, of course,
I will say, as someone that I've been following you in your journey for a while now. I followed you a little bit before the first interview we had. That was probably like 8-9 months ago at this point. It's very cool to see how much you've grown and how you very much just stayed the same person, how you still remain so patient, so humble through everything. So, shout out to you for just being you and being authentically yourself through everything. But I want to set the stage for everybody that's, here today. Like, we didn't even do that in the beginning. So, I mean, we're here in Phoenix at Walter Warehouse, one of the coolest venues we have in Arizona. You're headlining headlining the Festival Farmers Market out here. This is a very cool experience, for everybody that's here. I know everybody I've talked to has been very, very excited that you are the headliner here. Everyone's super excited to come out here and see you play. But what I'm most excited for is to see you play not only this show, but to see you play so many more shows after this and see you headline things way into the future after this. What are some of the things on your horizon? What are you looking at? What are the hopes for you going into 2024 here of places you want to headline, festivals you want to play? What's on your bucket list coming up here? I mean, it's hard to say. Well, we do have stuff on the docket for 2024. But I mean, there's stuff you want to do, and there's the vision I have for my project, and then there's what's coming up in the immediate future. I'm super focused on the music right now and getting people to understand kind of what I'm pushing and what my sound is and where I want to take things, and who I am. I appreciate the kind words.
But I think it's still like I'm not even close to where I want to be yet. I have an amazing team around me, and they understand the vision, and the labels that I've been working with understand the vision, and I'm just, 2024 is going to be a year. I'm viewing it as a building year. Like I know I have a lot of crazy, cool opportunities that are coming up next year, but it's also for me, like I can see where it could be and then where it's at now, and I want to bridge that gap. So, but like, even starting off the year with this record that I'm super proud of it. It's a big vocal song. I have a bunch of cool collabs coming out after that. I need so much original music that I want to put out, and I am excited to actually get it's very hard to put releases together. I don't think people understand this. It's like, it's not easy. And when you have to do, you want to have your schedule be properly strategized so that you're not cannibalizing your own streams and that sort of thing. So I'm super focused on the music for next year, but as far as stuff I want to do long run, I really want to, there's the obvious answers. Everybody wants to play Ultra and Coachella and EDC and get good looks there. But for me, I'm in no real rush. I'll be honest with you. Like I'd rather have things happen when they're gonna happen. I don't think like I'm not going anywhere. I love doing this. So I'm not really I'm not anxious for anything. I'm not like, oh, I need to do this like right now. I'm also, I had a career before this, so I understand like. You don't just want something because it's there. You want something because you have something to offer. So if people were going to come and see me if I'm playing Coachella or something like that, what am I presenting to them? Are they going to get a full picture of what I'm trying to put out there as an artist? And I think I have music to put out that maybe it won't be a full picture quite yet, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's something where I'm in no rush for on the live side of things. Although there are cool opportunities. I've had some amazing opportunities this year. I got to play in Europe a bunch. I got to do, played some cool shows in Canada. I played some amazing shows throughout the U.S. Like it's been definitely full on. But for me, it's just I'm trying to just I'm more concerned with pushing my broader vision, and then letting the chips fall where they may. Because trying to predict this business is also
so tough, right? You can't.
It's impossible. You're not going to be able to do it. So I think it's just better to just, put your music out there. Put your I know I hate saying put your brand out there, whatever, but like put yourself out there.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And put your brand, whatever you're trying to push, whatever content you're trying to push on out there into the market, and like. And people will come to you if it's high quality, and I've had that happen this year, and I think it's going to happen next year. So, but I'm mostly focused on my own vision, and I hope people see it. That's like what it is.
I feel like more and more people are seeing it, definitely, for sure.
Feels like it, but it's hard to tell when you're in the cockpit. You know what I mean? You're kind of looking around, like I don't know. A lot of traveling analogies in this interview so far.
I love it though. I love it. I feel like you bring so much way. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I get smarter, but just by being around you, dude. Just the wisdom that you're bringing, dude. I want you to drop some advice, like drop some music advice. What's something that everybody in the music industry should hear?
Everybody in the music industry.
I don't even want to hear like people trying to become DJs. If it's an artist, give me an artist specific one. Then I want like just like anything like music specific one for anybody in the music industry.
I think artists wise, don't rush it.
Don't rush it.
I hate a lot of people who are just like, oh, we got to blow this project up. We got to do this. We got to do that. Whatever. Like, it's not really a business plan.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like shooting for a hit isn't a business plan. A hit is like lightning in a bottle. You can go in the studio and make stuff that you believe has commercial crossover value, for sure. But you can't just say like and then I'm gonna make a hit, and then this is gonna. No. And if you talk to any artist who has like a massive global hit, I don't know take it out of context if you want. Like they'll all probably tell you, without exception, I had no idea it was going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was a good song. I thought it was pretty big, but, like, when I had no idea where it was going to take me. I've heard that so many times over and over again, and they weren't rushing. They were just making stuff that they liked. From every single person I've talked to who's had a hit at that level, it's always been unexpected, and it's always been something that they did because they were passionate about it and not because, it was some packaged thing. And I understand the pop game is a little bit different. So if I'm talking about like a pop artist or something, it's a little bit of a different game. But by and large,
it's different in every
if you're making stuff that you really love, it stands to reason that someone else is going to love it as well, and then you just have to do quality control, basically. So I mean, that'd be what I'd say to artists. But I think as far as like the music business goes in general, this may not be advice to like get you to the top, but like we're not curing cancer here, so don't burn yourself out and stress yourself to the point where your cortisol levels go through the roof and you end up like melting down. I've seen a lot of people have mental health issues from
like take care of yourself before
take care of yourself because you know you'll come back and be even better. I had a surgery at the beginning of the year. We talked about it before, but I had so much mental clarity coming out of that. I was like I had no choice but to sit around all day and reflect on things, and it made me a better artist. So I think it's, and I know on the business side, because I was an agent, and I know how stressful it is. It's very hard.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard. And I have many, many friends who still do it. And, you know, we're constantly looking out for each other because we know how tough it is. It's not like you clock in at 9 and you leave at 5 and then you're done. Yeah. You're never off. So I think, you know, some people tend to not notice when they're getting, you know, burnt out by things. But that would, I'm just on like a personal level, but you know, everybody obviously wants to be ultra successful doing this. And when I am ultra successful, I will come back and I will sit down here and I will tell you that thing.
Tell you the step by step.
Okay, but it feels a little presumptuous of me to be like, so guys, you want to know how to make it in this town? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get you, but like your mindset is in the right place, dude. And I think that's what's most important. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's something to be really blessed about, that your just mindset is in a good spot. Like I want to hear from you though. What are some other things in your life that you're grateful for?
Oh, my son is the most obvious answer, but then we can get that out of the way. My son and my wife, my family are the most important thing to me, like by far and away. Ultimately, you can't, like, Denzel Washington has a great quote. You never see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. You don't get to take any of this stuff with you. So you do leave behind a legacy in the way that or not a legacy maybe, but you do leave something behind with the way that you've treated others and the impact you've had on other people's lives. And if you want a family, then they're there, and like that's what you get. You know, you can have a foundation or a cool company or whatever, but like at the end of the day, for me, it's like my most important thing is my family. But I'm also very grateful because I have been able to actually navigate from one very difficult career into another very difficult career and eke out enough success doing it to where I wake up and I'm like, I pay my bills. I got I have a beautiful house in LA. I have a beautiful wife, a beautiful son. I'm very grateful for those things, and my career facilitates that. So, like, isn't that the goal? I'm very, Thanksgiving just happened, so I guess speaking of gratefulness,
being thankful for things,
Yeah, and I think I read something the other day that said it's scientifically proven that it is impossible to feel negative. Not a negative emotion, but it's impossible to feel like disdain or anger when you feel gratitude. So
I like that.
It sounds corny, but it's true. I guess try it. I've never like worked on it really hard, but like. I buy that, and I think that it's important to look back, especially as if you're in the artistic side of things, and look where you were, look where you came. Go talk to past you in your head. Yeah. 12-year-old you, would he be cool with? Would he think you're a cool dude? So it's a fun thought experiment.
I like that. I like where your mind goes all the time. I have fun I like just watching you just go and just talk, just go on your little rant and just follow your mind wherever it's going. Last question I got for you, dude. 2023 is coming to an end. We're going into 2024. What are the big goals for you going into 2024 here?
Big goals going into 2024. Well, I'm hoping to have a full release schedule, which would be probably 10 to 12 songs next year. Okay. We're on track for that. That's a huge goal of mine. Yeah, and it's not because I want the volume for the volume's sake. It's because the songs are done. Yeah. So I just
figuring out how to release them, when to release
100%. Kind of thing. And some of that's done already, but a whole year and it moves fast. Yeah. And then, look, I mean, for me, I want to be competitive in the live market, like in the festival circuit. I want to be able to introduce myself. I really have never done a crazy festival circuit before, so when I do that, I'm actually excited to do that at some stage, because now I'm at a point where I really think I could deliver and crush it.
Absolutely.
So I don't think I would have been ready like 2 years ago or before that. So this year, I now feel like I'm ready to go, and it's just getting better and better and better with each show I do and every song I put out, and so that's just like on a I guess when you're talking about releasing music or you're talking about doing shows, I mean, those are the two main things we do, but I also want people to know me. Yeah. And I think, I've been putting out more stuff to hopefully make that easier to do. I just dropped this live set on YouTube a couple days ago. I did it at this lighthouse on Lake Michigan, just brought some decks out there, got a drone and stuff, and filmed a bunch of new music. There's a bunch of IDs in there. And, I'm putting out a lot more content on the, just social media side of things. I'm not putting it's not crazy produced stuff. It's just like who I am. So my goals are just going to be to keep being me, and hopefully people pick up on that. But then also it's like, I want to grow into the next phase of what Dark Heart is going to be. Yeah. And I hope it because sometimes you have an idea in your head and it's difficult to translate that over to how people perceive it. So I'm hoping to accomplish that in 2024.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I'm excited to, see what kind of growth comes in 2024. I'm excited that I've gotten to see, just some of the growth that's been coming in the last couple of months. Even more excited to see just what happens for you and your project going into the next year here. I'm super excited to see everything. Anything else you want to shout out or talk about before we wrap things up here?
I mean, I just brought up the YouTube set. There's not more than that. I mean, you just go. You can keep up on my socials. I'm very, very, very clear about what I'm doing. Yeah. I just took a gym selfie, okay? So you'll know what I'm up to. I'm pretty transparent. So if you want to know what I'm doing, you know where to find me.
I love it. Where do we follow you? What are the
on Instagram?
tags?
I have the worst handle of all time on all platforms. It's Dark Heart with 3 Ds in the beginning. So we'll change that at some point next year. We have a little tweaking to do, but
that's part of 2024 plan.
Yes, the 2024 plan. We're going to fix some problems that past Dave just kind of overlooked, but that's okay. We got to start somewhere. You got to grow. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you. I know we got your set coming in a little bit. Super excited for that. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us again and catch up on how everything's been going and what's on the horizon here. Appreciate all y'all sticking around. This is another episode of The Launchpad. My name's Grant, and this is Dark Heart.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, brother.
You, bro.